Another critical responsibility for the people at the top of the organisation is to be nurturing the people who are coming up through the organisation, the people who can take the future leadership posts, the future critical posts, key posts in the organisation, making sure that they are getting the right development, that they're getting the right opportunities, that they're getting the right sort of people management.
Yeah, I think from a legal perspective, what one often sees is that where individuals have progressed through an organisation, the basic legal documents haven't kept pace, and quite frequently one can find quite senior people with a 2-page contract that was written when they joined the office as the proverbial postboy or girl 20 years earlier. When one then comes to a situation where they've become senior and perhaps have key value to the organisation in terms of their responsibilities, their relationships, their external relationships, if and when that person leaves, the contract's going to be interpreted at the time it was made and not at the time that they leave. So in the context, for example, of a non-compete covenant, it's unlikely to be much use, even if one was drafted originally, when the circumstances have changed and the individual has moved on. So well-managed businesses will know, and good in-house lawyers will know, of the need to make sure that employment contracts keep pace with an individual's progress as they are promoted and move up, and face the issues that the individual is facing in the right way. So that is a deterrent step, if you like, a preventive measure. I think the challenge on top of that is to make sure that individuals are mentored and are encouraged and are promoted, and that businesses don't lose sight of the internal resource that's available to them.
And I think there's a third angle on what you two have both said, because I think leadership has a key responsibility to keep an eye on those below, the old-fashioned idea of making yourself redundant. But in this more complex paradigm, the organisation, of course, has a key responsibility, as you said, contractually, to make sure things are up to date, which sadly they're not. And then the third side, which is what we're talking so much about, is the employee responsibility, to make sure they're equipping themselves with these new competences of future-orientated thinking, of leadership, so the whole thing can become seamless and work effectively.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's worth in this discussion making 2 points here. One is that all the things we've been talking about are absolutely essential for employee engagement, for raising levels of employee engagement in the organisation. And one of the things we know from the many, many surveys that have been carried out is that there's a direct correlation between levels of employee engagement and business performance, financial performance. And I think it's important that we make this point, and it's important that we make this point when we're talking to the people who are in charge in organisations, because it can critically make the difference between business success and lack of business success. So this isn't a nice to have, this is a must have in the organisation.
Yeah, and I think from a legal perspective, what's critical is for the legal framework to set the boundaries. The space in the middle is carefully delineate the space in the middle, which is the employee's area for freedom of action, but make sure that the employee gets the right messages so that in exercising their capacity for innovation, creativeness and so forth that they're being encouraged to do, they don't take the business in outside the permitted realm, if you like, and that they remain fully on message. And effective mentoring, performance management and appraisal is something which the law would encourage, but has a bottom line result for businesses too in the way that you've said.
Mentoring, I believe from my experience, can only most effectively happen face to face.
Absolutely.
Performance management, as you said before, is a duty of care, of consistency and quality.
Yeah, I mean, we had in place until recently statutory procedures that required meetings as part of performance management. Those have gone now, but we still have a code of practice from ACAS, which makes it pretty much mandatory for performance management to involve face-to-face meetings. But in any event, as you say, that's clearly what good business practice would require in any event.
Yeah, but the difference isn't to do with meetings such as the performance appraisal meetings. The difference is the day-to-day supervision. It's the day-to-day supervision that you can't eyeball anymore. And the fact that you can't eyeball day-to-day supervision anymore makes it all the more important that you can have the meaningful conversations that you need to have over performance and careers, that are the conversations that you're talking about, the critical ones, to do around performance reviews and pay reviews.